In this video, we're gonna go deep into the heart of discernment, and not just why it's important, but how actually we can practice. Because learning to separate what is truly yours from what is not isn't just empowering, it's transformative. This is so much more than making good decisions. It's about reclaiming your inner compass in a world that often tries to direct your course. This is part 2 of a 3-part series that I have named as The Art of Discernment, Building an Intentional and Grounded Life. If you have missed last week's video, we explored why discernment is essential in a world that thrives on manipulating our attention. And today we are moving from the why to how. I will share actionable strategies, how to strengthen your discernment and reclaim clarity in a noisy and cluttered world. And next week, I will be bringing out together, exploring how to use discernment as a foundation for designing a life fully aligned with your truth, your values, your energy, and your unique purpose. If you're ready to take control, let's just dive in. Let's start by acknowledging something we rarely talk about. Why is it so hard to know what genuinely is ours? Most of us like to believe we know what's best for ourselves, of course, but so much of what shapes our decisions happens beneath the surface, in the subconscious layers of our minds. The psychologist John Bowlby's attachment theories offers a lens to understand this. Our early relationships with our caregivers shape our expectations of the world and ourselves. If you grew up in an environment where love felt conditioned to how well you perform, for example, how much you pleased others or how good you were, it's likely that you learn to seek validation outside yourself. The stage for lifelong patterns of turning into external voices rather than your own. And it doesn't stop in childhood, unfortunately. As an adult, we're constantly bombarded with messages that reinforce this external focus. Social media condition us to chase likes, shares, and comments, and advertisements, especially designs and craft, telling us what we need to feel fulfilled. Even well-meaning friends and family project their expectations into us, shaping how we define success, happiness, even love. The problem is, over time, these influences drown out our inner voice. Do you see what I mean? It's like a static radio, making it nearly impossible to tune in to the frequency of what really is yours. What's more, research consistently shows that people who prioritize external validation over internal clarity report lower satisfaction in life and higher rates of anxiety. Why is that? Because living by someone else's definition of success or happiness inevitably leads to disconnection from ourselves, from our intuition, and our truth. But here's the good news. Discernment isn't about shutting out the world or avoiding people altogether. That's not what I'm talking about. It's really about learning to filter the noise so you can hear truly what resonates in your being. Now, I want to talk about a powerful way of understanding discernment. As you would probably have already heard, in this world, everything in existence carries a certain energy, signature. This is people, environments, objects, or even abstract concepts such as ideas and emotions. This is why you can walk into a room and feel a sense of comfort and easy, or conversely, why certain relationships and situations leave you feeling drained, or even if nothing overtly negative occurs, you feel somewhat off. The concept of energy signatures might sound abstract, but is actually rooted in science, particularly quantum physics. This field reveals that energy interacts in ways that creates either resonance or dissonance, either agree or disagree. When two energies align, they amplify each other, creating a flow harmony and a sense of effortless connection. But when energies clash, disagree, it results in resistance, discomfort, and misalignment. So think about this. Have you ever met someone who immediately put you at ease? You kind of like them without even knowing. Or perhaps the opposite. You couldn't quite put your finger on what it was, but something didn't feel right about the person. That's energy resonance. And your ability to notice those subtleties and is a form of discernment. Do you understand? Understanding energy signatures is like learning to tune to a radio. When you are in the right frequency, the music is clear and everything feels aligned. But when the signals are off, you get like static. So like that, discernment acts as your internal radio dial, helping you to tune into frequencies that aligns with your values, your well-being, and true, and to tune out the noise. The beauty of this concept is that it applies to every aspect of life, really. It helps us to evaluate not only our relationships, but also our decisions and environments, and even the content we consume. So if something consistently disrupts your sense of peace and authenticity, it's worth examining its energy signature. Now that we understand the energy signatures, how can we actively strengthen our discernment? So let's take a look at some actionable strategies that can help you refine your ability to distinguish what aligns with you and what it doesn't. Obviously, anything that brings you back to yourself, such as journaling, inner dialogue, will be one of the most accessible tools to cultivate discernment. By putting your thoughts on paper, you create a space to process and reflect. And begin with questions like, what decisions or commitment in my life feels heavy and restrictive? What feels light and expansive and true? This practice helps you to name what resonates with you authentically versus what feels imposed by external influences. And if you would like to explore even deeper, you can utilize the following prompts that I'm about to share with you. What is genuinely mine and what feels like belongs to someone else? How do I know when something feels right to me? You know, journaling is particularly effective because it allows you to bypass distractions of the outer world and connect you with your inner voice. Interesting, over time, this practice strengthens your ability to recognize patterns and distinguish between what it feels aligned and what it doesn't feel aligned. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the ability to pause and take a moment to think is one of the most valuable discernment skills. You would be surprised to know how often individuals go by their lives and never really stopping to reflect, simply acting on automatic pilot. But what you can do is, when you are faced with a decision, it doesn't matter, bigger or small, give yourself space to observe your initial reaction without acting on it immediately. Pause to separate your emotions and impulses or any external pressures from your genuine intentions, because mindful detachment creates room for discernment, helping you to respond intentionally rather than react impulsively. And a creative way, yet practical tool for discernment is visualization. Picture a decision or a situation as a ripple of energy moving outwards. You can close your eyes and ask, does this ripple feel expansive, pulling me towards growth and alignment? Or does it feel restrictive, like it's draining my energy or pulling me away from my center? This exercise helps you to tap into your intuitive understanding of whether something resonates with you and with your truth. The imagery of ripples can also make abstract feelings more tangible, giving you a clearer sense of what's right for you. Now, the interesting thing is that our bodies often know the truth before our minds do. How amazing, isn't it? Developing somatic awareness and listening to the physical sensations in your body can be a powerful way to strengthen your discernment. Pay attention to how your body reacts to different situations or decisions. For instance, does your chest feel tight or your stomach feels tense? These are often signs of resistance and misalignment. On the other hand, do you feel a sense of ease, a lightness, or even excitement? Because these physical cues often indicate alignment with your truth. You see, somatic practice like breath work, yoga, or even a simple body scan meditation can enhance your ability to notice those subtle signals. And discernment is not really just about identifying what aligns with you. It is also really about having the courage to say no to what it doesn't. Start small by setting boundaries in everyday situations. For example, decline an invitation or a request that doesn't feel right, even if it's uncomfortable. Because each time you honor your truth, you strengthen your capacity for discernment. The crucial thing here is to remember that it's all about maintaining a daily practice. And here is a practice that I utilize often after my daily meditation. In the morning, I always take a moment to reflect as well about my day that is starting whenever I can, and ask, what is truly mine to focus today? To set your intention. What can I let go that doesn't really serve me? Those simple habits create the clarity and help you to stay aligned with your priorities through the day. Do you see what I'm saying? It's also useful to set aside time each week to reflect on your experiences. And you can use questions like this. Where did I feel most aligned this week? And what situations or choices felt out of sync with my truth? Because weekly reflection is a powerful way to identify patterns and recalibrate your intentions. Let's be honest as well. We live in a world of endless inputs, from news and social media to conversations and entertainment. That's the reality for a lot of us. So be selective about what you allow into your mental and emotional space. For example, unfollow accounts that drains your energy and makes you feel inadequate. By curating your inputs, you create a space for what truly resonates with you. Something else you can utilize that is really helpful is to anchor the practices, which are simple rituals that ground you in your truth. This could be like a daily meditation, a gratitude journal, or even a short walk in nature. Because you see, these practices act as a touchstones, helping you to reconnect with yourself when the noise of the world feels overwhelming. Also, take a moment to celebrate each time you make a choice that aligns with your value, even if it's something small. Because these wins build your confidence and reinforce your ability to trust in yourself. It's something that many of us are having to relearn or learn for the first time. And at the end of the day, this is all about practicing intention and authenticity. You're going to really essentially be learning to hear your own voice in a world that is filled with noise and distractions, which is not an easy task, but doable. And the more you practice discernment, the more you will find yourself making choices that feel aligned and empowering. And you will stop living by default, following paths that others have laid out for you, and start creating a life that reflects who you truly are. And I guess it goes without saying that discernment isn't really about isolating yourself or shutting down the world. Really, it's not. It's about finding harmony, filtering what serves you, growing and letting go what it doesn't. And in the next video, we will explore the use of discernment as a foundation for building a life of clarity and confidence. This is where magic happens, when every decision you make reflects your truth and your values. So make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss out. And in the meantime, I would love to hear from you. What's the one way you practice discernment in your everyday life? Drop me a comment below. I would love to hear. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.